funny. Anyway, Zulma, YouTube is up, and so we're live streaming. Zulma Gonzalez, this mic is all yours.
Family, good morning. I'm literally walking up the steps with my computer because I realized that I only have one screen and I need two if I'm going to share, share slides. Um, my energy level is I have no idea where, and I'm trusting that you all are going to just hold me in your loving thoughts, in your energetic thoughts as I join with you in those energetic thoughts to to present my God self as best I can. Yeah, that. All right, I am literally plugging in things, it dawned on me as Lynn was talking. Oh, wait a minute, I can't see the slides. Oh, well, duh, Zulma. How about the other screen? So, thankful Thursday to each and every only one of us. Oh, I'm so grateful that it's only one of us because if that weren't the case, I would be feeling separate. I'd be feeling alone. I'd be feeling lonely. I'd be thinking that I'm in a world apart from, oh God, as opposed to being a part of, being one with the one. How great is that? How absolutely great is that? That when I came to, I was my mother's only child, and as I was I used to, call myself the, only child, lonely child. Oh, talk about woe is me type stuff, right? Um, and today that is far, far, far from being the case. All right. I am putting it all together here I know you're hearing me, but not seeing me, and that's very intentional. Um, okay, I think I'm ready. Okay. I didn't want you to see me walking around carrying a computer and speaking of my computer, well, speaking of my computer, yesterday I'd taken off my hearing aids. I started wearing the things again finally. Not today though. I'd taken off the hearing aids and had set them at the and on the laptop above the keys and all that. And yesterday I'm leaving my client's house and I go to close just saying it makes me feel some things. I'm going to close the laptop and I hear something go crunch. I thought, oh no, I broke one of the hearing aids. These things were $1,800, blah, 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 blah. Well, the hearing aids were just fine. It's the screen of my laptop. And with the word screen comes the word want to scream. Um, but it is what it is. So I'm just kind of feeling my way. I know one thing about me that when I let myself go into anger, that I may be talking it out, even in my head, talking it out to get it out. But while I am in it, something external almost always shows me the effects of my anger. In this case, it was I broke the screen on my laptop. Um, and there have been other things. The day I totaled my car, the day that the car, my former car, Sapphire, was totaled. I really didn't want to go to work and that sort of thing. We know me and my stories about not wanting to go to work and how that has worked for me so far. Um, um, Sally, at one Sunday, since you don't know this story, one weekday on my way to work, I said I didn't want to go to work, and I really didn't want to go to work. I just finished having prayer with my sisters, prayer sisters, who on Thursday morning, and they none of them had to go to work but me, and I really didn't want to go. I really didn't want to go. So my body slid off the basement steps, landed one foot. My foot was touching my back at the age of 61. That's not supposed to be unless I'm either an acrobat or attempting some intimate move to impress someone. But neither was the case. Landed on the step, core stuff. My song is I believed I could fly. I believe what is it? I believed I could fly. Didn't know that it would hurt my thigh. When I landed on the step, I tore the quadricep. And it went on like that. It was horrible, painful, and I didn't go to work. So I know this be more, just a bit more careful with how to be a bit more specific if possible, without outlining, without trying to be so detailed when I talk about what I want to do, or what I don't want to do, or how I feel, because I've reached a place in life where the Course tells us to guard our thoughts. The Course talks about letting our minds, having aimlessly thinking aimlessly, wandering thoughts. Um, and I know that if I'm not careful, when I'm not paying attention, everything outside of me shows me that. It shows me that. Now, I've been, as you all know, my brain has been diagnosed as having ADHD, which I call accepting divine healing daily. Um, because of that, uh, my mind goes to the left and goes to the right, very, very quickly. And that's enough to tire me out. That should explain a lot right there. That's enough to tire me out. I'm grateful though. I'm grateful for this day. I'm grateful for this uh I was actually again wondering, am I going on today? What am I going to present? Oh my God, I'm not, I don't have, I'm not ready. And I seem to be doing this every week, every week now. So I'm trying to, I had a busy week. Let's talk about that. And this will explain this. Maybe this will explain. On Saturday, I got a phone call from a woman an acquaintance, um, who I can count on one hand how many conversations we've actually had. I met her in 2018, and we're just our our ways of thinking, our ways of living are very different, and that's fine. I'm no judgment. I'm not judging that at all, at all. I'm just saying it's different. It's like we speak two different languages basically when it comes to our lifestyles, um and that's okay. Um, and so because of that, I really don't have too much in the way of conversation and stuff to have with her, and um, I don't necessarily feel that I um, have anything to that we don't have anything to offer each other that either of us are willing to accept into our lifestyles. Okay, I'll say it like that. Anyhow, she calls me on Saturday. This is the second time that she's called me for the same reason. She called me August 2 years ago to tell me 2 years ago, August, she told me that she was having a heart attack. What? You're having a heart attack? Where are you? I'm driving home. You're driving home. Um, yeah, I can't breathe. So, okay, I don't know if you're having a heart attack or not, but I don't think that, you would be driving if you were indeed having a heart attack. But I don't know. MD on the back of my name stands for mighty dumb. Doesn't stand for medical doctor. So, um, I said, well, go home, give me your address, because I really didn't know this one. Shut up, Karen. Hi, my Karen. Oh, first, let me greet everyone here. Dove, good morning. Dove and Sally and McKaylee and Lynn and Sharon and my Karen and Mickey and whoever iPhone is, I don't know. I'm going to think, possibly share. I'm going to think, maybe. I don't know. And Deb and Glorian, good to see you all here. Katia, I know you're listening out there and from where you are. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. And to whoever else is listening, thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, uh, so anyway, So 2 years ago, she called me to take her. Went to her home, went and got her, took her to the hospital. They said, in short, she has what is it? Congestive heart failure, um, and the whole thing was she wasn't taking her medication because she said it makes her go to the bathroom. Liquid, fluid, heart failure, fluid around the heart. And they gave her the lecture, and they IV'd her and everything, and she went back home that day. So on Saturday, she calls me and says, I can't breathe. What do you mean you can't breathe? I can't breathe. Uh, you want to go to the hospital? Yes. So for the second time, I go get her. I take her to the hospital. This time she's ready. She's got her handbag, just her handbag, not, no extra clothes or anything. Take her to the hospital. It's 7 in the morning. Um, and I was there with her until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, for the same doggone thing. She has congestive heart. This woman has congestive heart failure, or her body. Her heart has congestive, heart failure. She again said that she's not taking her medication because it makes her urinate. And they're trying to explain, yes, that's the purpose of the medication, to keep this fluid from around your heart, which is now going into her lungs. So that at this point, it was going into her lungs. They kept her. Um, and she dodged the bullet again. They did a procedure day before yesterday, and they didn't have to put a stent in or anything. Um, but made it very clear. And we are all naive in some area. We all are. I don't care how old we are, how many years how much experience we've had in life, but we are all naive in some areas. But I shouldn't say but. To me, for me, to explain to a 60-some-year-old woman, 63-year-old woman, the necessity of using and carrying some type of protection. Let's call them shields, shall we? To use some kind of shield when she's traveling from point A to point B, where she can then, if need be, change the shield, or, you know, um, it was amazing to me. I'm just surprised that they're, with all of with everything that's available to us today, that anyhow, this was the story. This is the story, and I'm still talking to her about it. But she's being discharged today, and I am going to pick her up. And I hate to admit it, that the primary reason why made myself available to do that is because she has one of my phone chargers. I want my phone charger. Yesterday, yesterday, I almost yelled at the woman because I told her I was bringing her keys because I thought she was being discharged yesterday. And I said, well, I can't do that, right away because I'm, on my way to work. Can't do it on my way to work because I take my doggy with me to work. Oh, well, you can leave him in the car. And she said it with such attitude that I wanted to go through the phone and grab her by the tongue. Um, well, you could just leave the dog in the car. No, I don't do that. Well, people do it all the time. And I said, this was the nicest way I could say it without, and not have to regret what I said. I said, I said, what people do with their dogs is their business. What I do with my doggy is my business, and that's not your business. That was me being, that was the sweetness. That was the sweetest way I could say it. Um, and she still tried to, anyhow. And I'm saying all of this. I'm giving you all this to say that for the last few days, I realized that I have been holding on to something. I am not happy, but I volunteered. I volunteered to take her to the hospital. I volunteered to stay 6 hours with her. I volunteered to go feed her, she gave me her keys to go feed her cat. This woman, she doesn't know me. She gave me her keys. She could have no possessions in her home today if I weren't who I am. And I'm grateful that I am who I am, that I live in integrity. But but God is real. Clearly God is real. And Lynn said it. God is what I am. There is only the one life, and that life is God's life. That life is perfect. It's complete, it's whole, it is perfect. And that life is my life now. And not just me, but anyone by whatever name our individual expressions of God are. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to help this woman because apparently, just from some things that she said, there really was nobody else who could. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm saying all this out loud to help myself calm down so that I can see this differently, so I can see peace instead of what I have been seeing, because everything I have said to you calmly, I had been to, uh, I called Reverend Swaddle, called my minister. Well, actually, she called me, and you know, and she laughed, and I'm glad. Just like, Gloria just threw a heart up there, and I'm glad, you know. And so it is. And so it is. I'll be picking her up from the hospital at sometime after this afternoon. Um, so I'm just regaining my energy. I'm just looking for what's already there. It's already there. It's already there. We are practicing, we are studying, we are talking about Course in Miracles meets Science of Mind and other metaphysical teachings. And I guess it's time for me to share my screen. Um, and let's see where this goes today, because well, let's just see where it goes. I'm trusting that I'll get some help. I get by with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. So, um, as always, we remember that we should train, remind us, I'm reminding myself that we should daily train our thought to recognize the spirit in everything we say, everything we say, and everything we think. There's no other way to try to to try any other way would be to make a complete failure. I was just talking about that attempting to look at, to not remember, that, um, that God is in everything I see, that God is in my mind, including, and there's no separation, including the situation, that this situation is for my learning and for my good, that it's all perfect. Just remembering, training my mind, even as I speak, daily training my thoughts, because the Course reminds us that this is a course in mind training, and that, attention, I've got to pay attention. I've got to pay attention. I can't let my mind wander aimlessly and think that everything is just going to work out um, in order. Things can't work out orderly if I'm thinking aimlessly, because it's done unto us as we believe, with the demonstration of what's it say how's it read in the Bible, that the tree by its fruit. Dr. Ernest Holmes wrote that if you if I want to know if you want to know how I live, if you want to know how I think, look at how I live. You can tell how I think by how I live. And the first time I read that, I have to admit, I got angry. That bothered me, because at that time I had a lot of guilt and shame and around the way I was living. I had a lot of, blame and all this stuff. It was, life was everything was everybody else's fault, and it was terrible, and I was separate and all that when I first read that. But I have since learned that it's the truth. If you want to know, the course tells us about, being a poor teacher and a poor learner if we're saying one thing and doing another. You know that thing you do with the kids? Don't do as I say, don't do as I do. What is it? Do as I say, not as I do. That thing? That's exactly it. That's a poor teacher. That's a poor teacher because you're attempting to teach two things at one time. And it's written, choose you this day who you'll serve because you can't serve two masters. We can't think two thoughts at the same time. We can't think in two different ways. Oh, but we try. We try the ego decision. We try the Holy Spirit decision. And yeah, Karen, perfect. Go ahead.
First of all, I want to thank you for sharing your anger story. Um, and I can relate, and I admire you for sharing it, and we can all relate, and it's helpful to all of us. That's number one. Number two, I just wanted to share something funny when you said, "Do as I say and not as I do." That's the way a lot of parents raise children, right? And that was a lot of times my dad was like that. And one year, and he gave the best advice in the world, by the way, my dad. He just didn't follow it, but he gave the best, and he was always right. Um, so one year for Christmas, I bought him a coffee mug that said, "Take my advice. I'm not using it." It said, he just laughed. It's take my advice. I'm not using it. So that's exactly what he did. And so as a child growing up, it was hard to respect him. It was very hard for me to respect him because it's like, well, you didn't do that. You're not doing that. Like, and you're telling me to do it, like I was a smart ass kid. I talked back, right? But yeah, but as I got older, it was different. And I just learned that he just whatever. He was an alcoholic. And there's a whole lot of story I'm not going to go into, but it's so true. And so we do have to watch our thoughts and we do have to watch what we say because even when I share, I like to share from my experience, not from a book, not from something I just read. If I can't relate it to an experience, then what's it worth? So that goes in line with that as well. So I just wanted to that cup, that image of that cup, and this was in the 80s. That's how long ago it was, but I still remember it to this day, and it just made me laugh. So thanks for bringing back a good memory.
Thanks for sharing that, Karen. Thank you so much. And we need it. We need and experience. And I mean, and you absolutely, I agree. Absolutely. I mean, what's the point? I can read and point out. I can sit and read quotes all day long, and I do. I have slides, but there's always something that goes with it. It's not just we're just gonna let's just read the slides. Um, unless it was for you all to share what's going, if you all wanted to give, examples based on your own lives or situations that you've encountered or encountering, you know, but that's really what it's about. When A Course in Miracles for me, um, after I the primary experience, the first experience, the first primary experience that I had with the course was absolutely forgiveness, and it involved my mother. Those, you all know that. Most of you know that. Um, and once I was able to let that go, I realized that mommy for me was like the crucifiers for Jesus in that story. Um, let it go, let it all go, let it go. There was nothing that was great. No one in my life was more important. Well, my idol, actually. No one in my life was more important than my mother. So it comes down to today, if I'm able to let it go about mommy, I can let it go about anyone, period. Really, nothing is. I always say, oh, but this isn't worse. This is not worse to me than how I perceived my relationship with my mother. Nothing has been worse. Um, so once I was able to let that go, but after that, the purpose I made the course. I use the course for more tangible things. So when I started reading things about things that of value, it pertained to material things because I have this thing with material things, holding on to stuff that's no longer useful. Um, so and every one of us will use the course for different reasons. For some it's anger, for some it's material possessions, for some it's a feeling sorry for themselves, for some it's physical, whatever. And it's not for me to be able to it's not for me to say to you, oh well, the reason why you use it is not right because I use it for, or you should shooting on people, um telling people what they should do and how they should use the course. And I've heard people, attempt to tell me, oh, well, that's not what that means. And my thought is, well, that's not what it means to you. Because if this is how it has helped me, and I am then able to be truly helpful as a result of that, then by no means um can I choose to accept into my person, my being, my Zulma-ness, that that's not what it means. When I say that I will not value what is valueless, you might be talking about the way you're thinking about a situation, because you let yourself get angry, like me, this thing with anger, I let myself get angry about it. I can use it there, but when I'm finished with that, because that's going away. That's not that comes to pass. It comes to pass. But when I'm finished with that, I'm looking at um this book that that I have a duplicate of. I don't. Why do I need more than one of the same book? It's valueless in that regard. That sort of thing. With me, it's material things. It may be something else for somebody else, and that's fine. But we're all the form is different. The content is the same. The feeling behind it, that I am perceiving myself as needing something outside to comfort me. I need to be, in the case of being angry, I need to be pissed off at you and make you wrong so that I can feel blah blah blah. And in the case of possessions, I need to buy this other thing and have this other thing and take in this new information, which I don't. I haven't bought a book that I wasn't required to buy. I just stopped doing that because how many how many books do I need? This is the one. No. This is the one. This is my salvation lies in, and it's one of the workbook lessons. Oh, somewhere in the early 50s, I think, which talks about wildly seeking for salvation here and there, and just wildly seeking for salvation in all these things and in all these places and in all these people, and it wasn't there. I see your dog, Sally. I see. I was just gonna bring up my doggie. I was gonna say, I had the opportunity to rescue a doggie off the street, lovable, who's actually downstairs. He knows I'm busy right now. He may come up and say hello because he always usually does. Um, but and there have been moments I actually said to him, oh, lovable, you really saved me. And then I had to retract my own thoughts. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What am I saying? Because we get attached to the tangible stuff. We get attached to it. Um, I understand today that I'm connected to everything. There's no other way. There's no, because everything is one thing. There's no every. It really is just different expressions of it. The love and lovable saved me. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Yeah, I'll buy that, Lynn. Thank you. Um, because it reminded me of the joy of loving. It just gave, he has just given me another opportunity to be truly helpful. And that's really what it's about. All right, I can sit here and talk about me for the next hour if you want. It's already been a half hour. But I'm not going to do that. Let's see what we have. Reminding again that to learn how to live is to learn how to think is to learn how to live, as per Dr. Ernest Holmes and Christian Larson teaches that we naturally become master over all life when we can understand and master the process of thinking. And we move on. My favorite passage from the course is the reminder that every response you make is determined by what you think you are, and what you want to be is what you think you are. Every response I make is determined by what I think I am. I can hold on to that. And when I thought that I was in charge of what, this woman's thinking, because in my mind, I was calling her, frankly, I was calling her all kinds of dumb for thinking that, you don't take your medicine because because it makes you urinate. What? And then I really had to look at myself. Oh, come on, Zulma, you're judging the woman. How often do you do quote quote dumb things? How often do you do stuff that you don't like taking you wait until you get to certain places to take your medication because for the same reason, that kind of thing. Or you don't want to take this medication because so who am I? What I want to be is what I think I am. Because in the moment that I'm thinking it, I am it. I am it. Dr. Ernest wrote that to the degree that we grasp at it with a capital I, it. We are it. We are our own understanding of God, Ruth Miller says. We are it. I am that. I'm not a piece of that. I'm not, a part of that. I am that in an individual expression. Just like the tree and the birds and lovable and even this computer screen. It is that. It's all that. Because there's nothing separate and apart from that. Joel Goldsmith reminds us, no and. There is no such thing as God and. It's all God, all of it. So if in your vocabulary you find yourself saying that that's not of God, choose to rethink it. How's that so? How can it not be of God? Anything that God doesn't allow can occur. The course says something like that. That's a reword. But what God doesn't allow can't be. Simple as that. Every response, what you want to be must determine every response you make. I am releasing weight. Yay. Yay. I've gone into another set of numbers now. I'm in the mid 170s. Yay. I am releasing weight. And it was a choice. It's the choice I made. What I want to be must determine every response I make. I've talked about it long enough. I'm starting to have a different mindset. I have chosen a different mindset. I've yet to start using the medication that they gave me. I will to speed it up some, but not yet. I need to get the mindset first. I had to do that. So what I want to be must determine every response I make. And what I want to be is healthier, slimmer, etc., etc. I will maintain complete respect for what you have made, but I will not uphold it unless it is true. I like this passage. Karen, this is one of Karen's favorites too. I will not uphold unless it's true. You can go, jump off of, ladders and just jump off and hurt yourself. And I will, be there while you're jumping. But I won't hesitate to question, what purpose is this serving you? I can't uphold this. I can't uphold this. I'm bringing the trampoline. So when you land, you don't hurt yourself, your physical self. You can jump, fine. But I'm bringing the trampoline. That's how I will uphold it. Because, yeah, it's a great passage. It's just a great passage. It's a great passage. I will maintain complete respect for what you have made. And this is our makings, because it's not creation. It's not our creation. It can't be upheld unless it is a creation. Unless it's something that is truly helpful, unless it's something that engages my brother, that engages me with the ability to recognize the oneness. Unless I'm in the being putting myself in engaging with God, it can't be upheld. It can't be. Karen, I see your hand. Go ahead, love.
Yeah, I just love this. I love this so much, Zulma. It's one of my favorite quotes. And, it also, everything you said, and to add to what you said too, it's helping us to demonstrate how to live in the world with our brother. So, I will maintain complete respect for what you made, but I will not uphold it unless it's true. And to add to that, in the demonstration in the world, like if it's something that my daughter might be doing, or my granddaughter might be doing or not doing, has nothing to do with me. So I do not have to allow it to have an effect on me. I will still love you and honor you and maintain complete respect for what you made, but I don't have to uphold it unless it's true. And the truth is, nothing can change the love that I feel for my brother. And the most loving thing to do in that moment is to just respect and love them and give. And the other respect that comes with that is respecting the power of decision, the power of their mind to choose. All this goes together for me with this passage because I'm respecting their power of decision. And Ken Wapnick teaches this. This is where I taught this from Ken Wapnick, because he teaches us that we don't take that away from anyone. That's the greatest power that we've been given. So we allow them to change their mind when they're ready. And that's what Jesus does in the course. I will love you, honor, maintain complete respect for you, but I will wait until you change your mind. So there's so much, I'm not going to go on and on about it. I think you get my point, but it's so helpful in the world in dealing with our brother and being that, just we were talking about earlier, just being that quiet presence, that not having to say a word, just allowing, and that gives them the opportunity to see that what they have done, it could be the worst thing in the world. It doesn't have an effect on me because I can't change the love that's there. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, that goes back to there's two kinds of business. Your business and none of your business. There's two kinds of business, my business and none of my business. What I think of you is none of your business. What I think of you is none of your business. And I might try to inflict it on you because I think I know better, because I'm older, because I'm a parent or whatever, or because I had that experience and I don't want you to have the same experience. I don't want you to go through what I went through, but I don't know if the outcome of what you're doing is going to be the same as the outcome of how I did it. Very well, be different. And if it's not, it's still not my business. I, I, I can uphold, I can respect it, I can respect it, but it's not my job to control it, to dominate it, to tell you how you should be. There goes shooting again. Doggone it, we're too full of shit. We are too full of shit. We ought to keep our shit to ourselves. Keep our shit to ourselves. What's going on? So I was different thoughts were coming today, different passages, different thoughts, and I decided to look at a couple of them. And speaking of thought, and none of this is in any particular order because that's not the way it was coming to me. Um, but I was thinking, I was reading something from Dr. Ernest Holmes, and then went to the course to um, to for that which spoke to that same thought. Dr. Ernest wrote that what thought has done thought can undo. And this is Ernest Holmes, by the way. Ernest Holmes, founder of Science of Mind, for those who may or may not know, known as religious science, actually, which is only the proof that God is real. Simple. Um, what thought has done, thought can undo. The mental patterns laid down in your subconscious throughout the ages can be consciously removed. And what just came to me is the course talking about the atonement. To atone means to undo. And it is for us to accept that atonement for ourselves, to accept the willingness to undo, to look at it differently, to recognize that we're not victims of the world we see. You would be responsible for the effects of all your wrong thinking, the Course teaches, if it could not be undone. This reminds me of the Bible story of Adam and Eve, and which to me is a story to me, um, which is virtually impossible because, first of all, how could one human, supersede the all? We're taught, that because of what Adam did, the way it's written, because of what Adam did, that we all had to, have the suffering. We all have the sin and all that kind of stuff. That to me, way back, way back before the Course, made I didn't understand it. I started reading the Bible on my own, fortunately, in 1985. I came to the Course in 1992. And it's, one thing was preparing me for another. I didn't know that. I didn't know that then, because I remember when I first started reading the Course, I'm like, oh, this sounds like the stuff in the Bible, which I would not have known had I not started reading the Bible in 1985. Today, I'm glad that I did have that, some background in it, because I come across passages, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of passages in the Course, which are coming from the Bible. But anyway, but when I first read that, like, how could Adam undo what God did? As if God and Adam are two separate, two separate beings. But that's the way that stuff is written, anyhow. Um, the effects of my wrongdoing can be undone. I can change my mind. Simple. Dr. Ernest writes, change your thinking, change your life. The Course teaches you see this differently. There's another way of looking at this. I can see it differently. I'm not the victim of the world I see. I'm not the victim of the world you see. You're not the victim of the world you see, because you invented it. I invented it. I invented it. And because I invented it, I can change it. I would be responsible for the effects of all this stuff, of all this crazy thinking I've done, of all this angry thinking I've done, of all this judgmental thinking I've done. I would be responsible for the effects of all of this thinking if it couldn't be undone. I came in here this morning talking about low energy. Well, you hear me now, right? Energy's higher because I'm not responsible for the effects of all my wrong thinking. It can be undone. I can always change it. And the truth, what's true, cannot change. Truth always simply is. It's not this or that. Facts are this or that, but the truth is always true. That's why nothing real can be threatened, and why nothing real, rather, nothing that's unreal and nothing that's not real exists, because to exist is to have permanence. It's not real, doesn't have permanence. If I can see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, think it, It's not real. It's not permanent. Simply is not. Simply is not. Dr. Ernest wrote, by the way, this is from his book, This Thing Called You, my favorite, the first book of his that I ever read. And I actually was thinking about coming in here and starting to read that book. Start about that today. But no, I'm prefacing that. I may very well do that. And because it's a very empowering. It just helps me keep reminding me of who I am. It's of what I am that and what I'm capable of. And I'm capable of everything because God is what I am, and I am everything. I have it all. I am all. Ooh, how empowering is that? I have all and I am all. So Dr. Ernest wrote, everything that is worth attaining is worth striving toward. It is the goal you are after. It is the goal you are after. And the course asks, what do I want to come of this? And this is anything. This is an easy way to change my mind. An easy way to change my mind. What for? What purpose is it serving me? What purpose is this serving me? What is it for? Purpose, of course, reminds us, is meaning. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything if it comes to nothing. Mm. If pain is the outcome, if my if me choosing pain is the outcome, it doesn't that has no meaning because pain is not intended for me. My thoughts are that pain is intended for me, but it's not. It's me. What do I want to come of this? Whatever it is. What is it for? The clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning. And it's what's his name? Covey, Stephen Covey, in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of the habits is begin with the end in mind. Do you know I have to do that when I'm going somewhere? I have something to do. I have an appointment. I have to start. This is how my brain works. I have to start with the time I have to be there and work backwards if I intend to be on time. If I intend to be on time, my alarm to come in here on Thursdays, it goes off at 9:13. But at 9 o'clock, I have an alarm set to remind myself that 9:13 is coming. I have to think backwards. I have to, in order for me to be ready to be here, I'm, putting whether it's, doing my hair, putting some clothing on, whatever it is. I have to work backwards. If I have an appointment for 10:30, I set my first of all in my phone alarm for the appointment time. I have it for 10:15. And then I have to work backwards, thinking, okay, so it's taking me X amount of time to get there, and it's taking me X amount of time to get dressed, and it's taking me X amount of time to shower, and all that. I have to work backwards, starting from 10:15. Anyway, the clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning, for it is this which will determine the outcome. Simple stuff. Now, I just use that for some tangible thing. You might need it for thought. What am I thinking this thought for? Whatever it is that works for you. However that works for you. The course, even though we all study it together, it's a self-study course. It says that. It's a self-study course. It doesn't say, go hang out with Gather, although there's no other place I'd rather be to to study and listen to the course. It's within here. Anyway, I'll continue. Again, from um, This Thing Called You, Ernest Holmes wrote, man did not create life. He is something that lives in, from, and by it. In the Bible is written, that we live, move, and have our being in God. And one of the workbook lessons says something like that too. From the course, everything meets in God because everything was created by Him and in Him. I think I just saw something come up in the chat. What is that? Yes, Karen wrote that sickness is only of the mind. Wait a minute. Is that now? No, that's not now. Oh, wait. Nope, that's not that was at 9:22. I wasn't here yet. Um, yes. Yes. Glorian followed up on no and from Joel. There is only God and nothing else. The ego is a concept and does not exist. Exactly. So at the study group last Monday, we were talking about that. You know, people see the word lie is in our dictionary. So we're taught that if it's not the truth, it's a lie, right? That's what we're taught. And I said, if it's not the truth, it's nothing because there's only truth. It's nothing. There is no, there's, there's God. That's that. There's nothing else. There's only truth. And my problem, is when I want to think that there's something other than the truth. So Glorian continues, Ken said, if we're doing the workbook lessons correctly, we will experience grave anxiety because not for one moment do you exist. We do not exist as separate concepts or bodies or images. It is all God. Thank you, Lord. It is all God. It is all God. There is nothing else. There is nothing else. But we want to say, oh, that's not a God. Because see, if you come out of out of the traditional churches, you hear that all the time. Well, that can't be of God because we think that when we get something that we like, we've been blessed. And when we get something that we don't like, we've been punished. And even in the Bible, there was something where somebody had asked Jesus in one of the stories was he was asked the man who was born blind. He said, so who sinned that this man was born blind? Because you know, in the early parts of the Bible, it talks about the sins of the father falling on the sons and all that kind of stuff. We automatically think, or we tend to believe that because our parents had such and such an illness, that we too have to have it. And sometimes I have to admit, it gets kind of, it makes me wonder. I have to admit, I've met people that have Huntington's disease. Both of the children have it. Their mother had it. Her sister had it. And then their cousin had it. They say it's a hereditary thing. I'm not even touching it. I'm not even touching it because that's one of those things that makes me think, mm. But at the same time, I don't know what role diet plays. I don't know anything. I know nothing. I know nothing. I know nothing. I have my thoughts about it, and I'll leave it. I'll leave it right there. Everything meets in God because everything was created by Him and in Him. That's from chapter 6, and from workbook lesson 261. I live in God. Hear what that means. You live in God. We are in God. Grab hold of that. That's huge. That is so huge. I take that with me all the time. In fact, I'm being given the opportunity to speak at the Greater Philadelphia Center for Spiritual Living on June the 8th. Anybody near Philly? Anybody near Wayne, PA, actually? Want to come join me? By all means, I'd appreciate it. I think it'll be live streamed. I think it'll be streamed. I don't know. Um, the first time I had an opportunity to do that in conjunction with someone else, we did it one day and it was streamed some days later. Um, anyway, and one of the points that I make is that how can how can how can it be wrong? How can anything be wrong if it's all God? Is God wrong? Is it possible? God can't be wrong. And if I live in God, mm, grab that. I live in God. I move in God. I have my being in God. The Course says God is the universe. It's plain as day. God is the universe. Cosmos, all of it. I live in God. In him, I find my refuge and my strength. And let's be clear. We say him, H-I-M, like it's a man, or it's, like it's a male figure. But the Course lets us know early in the preface that it's using traditional Christian terminology. It's using traditional biblical terminology. That him doesn't mean that I can't, here I go, that I can't say her. I can say her, I can say him, but those are concepts. It's back to what Gloria said. Those are concepts. Ah, ah, ah. Yes, Karen wrote, God does not condemn because God does not forgive because condemnation is not of God. Yeah, we do this to ourselves because God doesn't condemn. Life. This is where I get to substitute the word God for life. See, God is not a man. In the Bible, God is not a man. We think punishment. Oh, he punished me. He beat me. He took something he stole from me. That's not God. That's not the essence, not spirit, not source. That's not that. Maybe something in form that was afraid and it felt it needed to take something from someone else because it perceived itself as a body. But God, and Lindy wrote, let me see here. The truth about that thought is like mother, like daughter, and like father, like son. Yeah, but that's not always the case either. Because some people decide, I don't want to, that way of living doesn't work for me, and I'm not going to be that. And why then are some people, some parents are heavy and the children are thin, some are the other way around. Some have in the same family. You have the thin ones and you have the heavy ones. You have the ones that were born with blue eyes, some born with brown eyes, some born with dark hair, some with light hair. We can't put anything in a box like that. We can't box stuff in. Um, And then he continues, this saying is created when we live in the same exact way as the one before me. Then I will have yes, it basically comes down to it's even the 12-step program. If you want what I have, then do what I do. If you want this life, then do what I do. Just follow in these footsteps. This wheel has already been you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just follow this. That's what it's written in the Bible when it's written that Jesus said, follow me. And in the Course, follow me. Do what I do. Watch me. Let me be your model. Do this. That's do only this. You want the peace of God? Choose to live in peace. Choose to be the peace. Choose to recognize that you are the peace. You want to live in love? Remember that you are the love. It's that simple. Simple, but not easy because we're too caught up in the things that we can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. We're too busy judging by appearances. We're too busy living based on old concepts of what we've been taught, what we've read, what we continue to read. You can't serve two masters. You can't. You simply can't. You think you can, but you can't. What's that song? I've got two lovers. I've got two lovers, and I ain't ashamed. Two lovers, and I love them both the same. And then at the end of the song, as a child, as a youngster, when I heard that, I didn't realize. I thought it was two different people. And she goes on at the end. She says, "Both of them are you." It's all one. So Glorian wrote, "Self-righteousness is forgiveness to destroy." Yes, from the course. His righteousness, God's righteousness, God's son is innocent. The innocent do not need forgiveness. We are absolutely innocent. And I'm gonna tell you why. Whatever I said at it's 10:31 now. Whatever I said at 10:20, I don't know. I don't remember what I said. At specifically 10:20, no seconds. If I said something different at 10:20 and 20 seconds, whatever I had already said was gone. That moment came and went. There's no going back to. This is what I'm part of what I'm my 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 theme for uh um what I'm speaking, and it's all right now. It's all right now, because this moment is the only moment, and the next moment, that moment is already gone. Okay, so now I'm in a new moment, and now that's gone, and in a new moment, and now that's gone. Now is the only aspect of time that has any meaning. Now, this is why forgiveness, atoning, is necessary, because what we're choosing to hold on to isn't even there. The court says that the shadowy figures from the past are precisely what we must escape because they're not real. The past, the course tells us we see only the past. Like it's all over the place. We see only the past. In the Bible, it came to pass. It didn't come to stay. But we're holding on to stuff, and the stuff that we're holding on to is holding on to us, and it's making us miserable. We're angry. We're frustrated. We're judging. We're blaming. We're criticizing. And then we want to say that something outside of us is the reason. We're in fear. Oh my God, it's me. That was the book by Cheryl Valentine. Oh my God, it's me. And Karen wrote, wait a minute, before that, let's see. Lindy wrote, Jesus also said, if you don't listen, if you didn't listen to Moses, why would you listen to me? All writers, they were reading what somebody else wrote and said. Because anyway, Karen wrote, forgiveness is the great need of this world because it is a world of illusions. For me, thinking that what you did a week ago has meaning now, it doesn't mean a thing now. Nothing except the meaning I give it. I'm going to continue. There is a pattern of your being or a real spirit of you, which is as eternal as God, as indestructible as reality, and as changeless as truth. Now, I'm quick to accept that about me. I need to be just as quick to accept it about you. There's a pattern of your being, not just my being. There's a pattern of everyone's being, whatever name you call it. Your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your ex-husband, your grandmother, your grandfather, your children, your grandchildren, that person who stole this, that person who took that physical life, that all of it, every single thing, all those people we see on television, all of it. There is a pattern of their being or a real spirit of them, which is as eternal as God, as indestructible as reality, and as changeless as truth. And when I am able to, as I remember to remember to remember to remember, that's the practice. As I remember to remember that I am one with all of that, all of them, so called. I am one with every single thing I see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. in truth, because there's a passage coming right up. It's real in the moment that it occurs, it's real. Dr. Ernest said. That found out to be a fascinating passage. And I'll come to that in a minute. Um, it came to pass. Yes. It's a Lindy, it's in the Bible 727 times. Let me come off screen for a second. I want to say that with emphasis. The words "it came to pass" is written 727 times in the Bible. That you kind of think that it means something. We were meant to get something from that. It came to pass. It didn't come to stay. It can't stay. Life is constant. It's constantly moving. Life doesn't stop. This continual evolution in which it evolves and we involve ourselves in it. And it keeps on going, it keeps on going. You put that wheel, what is it, the little mouse on the little wheel, and it keeps on going, it keeps on, it can't stop, can't stop. It doesn't come to stay, it comes to pass. The I'm not separate from the one. I'm not separate from the one. There's only one, and I am of that. I am of that. I'm not separate from God. This is the problem, that we think that there's God and then there's us. No, no. I am it. I am that. I am life incarnate. I am that in form. We are all that in form. And understanding that once we are able to recognize that as the truth, as our truth, then all this separate stuff just goes away. There is no separation. There is none. Go ahead, Glorian.
Yeah, thank you for this wonderful presentation and discussion. When you were mentioning it will pass in the Bible, and where Jesus tells us in the Course, heaven and earth will not exist as separate states, and that it'll come to pass, the illusion will come to pass when we realize our oneness. Thanks.
Yeah. Yes. All this illusory stuff, we keep making separate, separate. Okay, so I'm reading what you're writing, Lindy. There is no back to oneness. It's already one. It's already one. It's already one. The belief that it's not is the problem. The belief that it's not, that's the problem. Some writings, well, I'm not, nope. I'm going to move on. I do remember being in a Miracles study group, and someone was in there talking about, well, this book says such and such, but that book says such and such. And I go back to, you can't serve two masters, because if this is contradicting that, you have to go what feels like the truth. Where's the truth for you in it? Be still for a moment, and feel the truth of it. What makes I made a choice. I made a choice that there are parts of um, every book. There's parts of every book that ring absolutely, that they're all saying the same thing. They're all saying the same thing. And when they're not saying that, when it's talking about war and destruction and that it's okay to rape people and it's and it's when that's okay that a woman has to be less than a man and all that stuff that doesn't. I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on. In the Bible is written, "Be anxious for nothing, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds." Oh, my battery is on 29%. I might have to run downstairs and get the charger. I didn't bring the charger with me upstairs. Let's see it. Let's see if this works. Let's see how far I go with this. My screen's getting dim. I may have to put you on hold for a moment, family. That's in the book of Philippians. Be anxious for nothing. And Emmett Fox wrote, "There is really no need for man to have trouble, because if he will only seek God first," which is how it's written, "seek first God's kingdom, and all else was added unto you." Because there's only God's kingdom. That's it. That's why all else is added. That's why the Course says that we have everything and we are everything, because that is the kingdom. The kingdom is you. The kingdom is you. If you will seek God first, seek the kingdom first, the trouble need never come. Wow. Never is what Emmett Fox wrote. Never. Need never come. I'm gonna run downstairs and get my charger. I think you just lost the screen. Okay. I'm gonna run downstairs and get the charger. I'll be a moment.
I'll pick up for a minute while you're doing that, Zulma. Um, if you do not mind. I am so appreciating everything that Zulma's talking about today, everything that's been being talked about today. The whole idea that I just posted in the chat, heaven and earth shall pass away, means that they will not continue to exist as separate states. My word, which is the resurrection and the life, shall not pass away, because life is eternal. You are the work of God, and his work is wholly lovable and wholly loving. That's what I've been saying. That's what I was saying this morning. I'm God's love. That's all I am. I am the love of God. I'm a work of God, wholly loving and wholly lovable. This is how a man must think of himself in his heart, because this is what he is. This is so essential for me to remember this. What I am is love. I'm God's love here incarnate in the world and living the life that God has given me to live. And when I'm thinking that, oh, well, God didn't want me to be so fat, or God didn't want me to, I don't know what, whatever. No, God just wants me to be loved. And if I love to eat, that's going to make me fat. Hey, God loves that. God loves my fat body, my round body, my cushy self. God loves me, all of me, every bit of me. Anyway, I see Zoma is back and her the shiny face. I'll turn it back over to you, and I see Gloria has her hand up too.
Yeah, go ahead, Gloria. And thank you, Glenn. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. It's just so important. And when you mentioned, it's mentioned so many times in the Bible, this will pass. We come to recognize that the false concepts about what I think I am will pass. And then we'll move into our true divinity, which is what's real and which is the oneness. And if we're experiencing the oneness, then there's nothing other. There's no God and. So this is the entire idea is to move into that space through that holy instant of the quiet mind, where we experience the oneness of I am. Not think about it. If we're thinking about it, we're in perception. The idea is to move into the experience of the oneness. And this is so beautiful because, he's telling us here again and again in the Bible that these false concepts will disappear and we will realize what we are. Thanks.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for that, Gloria. And when it says it came to pass, it's talking about this story, this moment, this thing. This is what in the course it says we see only the past. See, now we may grab one of those stories and say, and this is what's happening now. Well, no, it came to pass. It's just it's not now. It was written when it was written. Even, we could talk about the course. I'm using um the course as a study tool. And I heard Lynn uh reading that you are the work of God. Just found that you are the work of God, and his work is wholly lovable and wholly loving. And this is how we must think of ourselves, because that's what we are. We are love. And in chapter 6 it says, teach only love, because that is what you are. So if I'm only, well, first of all, going back to the Bible, it's written, God is love. So God is love. I am love. Where's the separation there? There is no separation. Okay, Lindy, I see your hand. Go ahead. Lindy, you're muted.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I hear you now.
I just wanted to mention what Lynn said. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my word will never pass away. I mean, it's like eternal. And then she read God is love, and we are love. And I just wanted to add, when we look out into the world and we see, like you were going to say, I'm not going to touch that. I'm not going to touch that. When you started talking about the rapes and all that stuff that's going on, and we see with our eyes that may not even be real, but we see it. And then you said, all of it is one. We're all one with all of this stuff, right? So I'm saying, wow, that makes sense, because if none of us was separated from God and God is in control of everything. I said to myself, when Lynn said, we are loved, that's all we are, I said to myself, Linda, that's exactly the way you feel about yourself. And none of that stuff has anything to do with you. And all you need to do is just keep spreading that love and that light that the Most High gave you, and you're going to be all right. I just wanted to add that, and I just love y'all. I just love y'all.
Thank you for that. And when the rapes I was talking about were the stories in the Bible, by the way. I wasn't even talking about the stuff as we see it out here. Those were stories in the Bible. But yeah, that's what it comes down to. I mean, and even that, what our body is temporary. Our body is temporary. So where I used to think, oh, I was violated. I wasn't violated. What I am, the truth of what I am, cannot be violated. Love cannot be violated. God cannot be violated. Period. Period. So away with that victim thinking. I have no reason to perceive myself as a victim. I'm not a victim. God informed. Oh my gosh. How wonderful is that? And the going back to the screen, as soon as I figure out where to share, but okay. I need be anxious over nothing. It says in the course. For your voice will tell me what to do and where to go, to whom to speak, and what to say to him, what thoughts to think, what words to give the world. The safety that I bring is given me. I need be anxious over nothing. Nothing. So I'm running around here worried about whatever. There's a lot of stuff going on in this world. Things unlike we've ever seen, that you and I may have ever seen before, because we may not have been alive to see some of the stuff that we may be witnessing today. But it all comes to pass. It all comes to pass. It doesn't come to stay. The truth is still true. God is still God, and we're it. We're it. We are all it. Even the ones that you wouldn't say, that's not God. Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And we need to hold on to that truth too. Go ahead, Karen.
Thanks, Zulma. I love these quotes. Can you go down a little bit where you just were? Yeah, this first one by Emmett Fox. There is really no need for man to have trouble because if he will only seek God first, the trouble need never come. Excuse me. And of course, this reminds me of in the course and in the Bible where, he says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God, and all else will be given unto you. So for me, it's just remembering before I make a decision to ask first, because I will say, from my experience, the major, if you want to call them problems, quote unquote, that I've had in my life, were even regrets that I've had regrets. I've healed them, but I've had regrets. Were from not asking first. Were from thinking I knew what to do and then doing it and ending up in like a divorce or an argument or something insane and crazy, because I didn't go to God first. I didn't go to love first. So number one, I think that's so, so important in my life today. That is so, so important in my life today. I take that to heart. And then the second one you have here from lesson 275, I need be anxious over nothing, for your voice will tell me what to do and where to go, to whom to speak, and what to say to him. And it goes on, but this is repeated throughout the course. And it's also in the truly helpful prayer. So this is also a very, very universal, beautiful language that I'm loving. So thank you.
Thank you, Karen. In fact, and that's what made me, when I saw it, I'm like, oh, this is very much like what's in chapter 2. Um, yeah, I don't have to worry about, I don't have, if I was, and I like what Karen said, what you said, Karen, about, asking first. If I were to start from, what's the loving way to do this? What's the loving way to see this? What's the loving way to handle this? A lot of my things I do and say would be a whole lot different. All that stuff that I was, chattering about when I first got here, complaining, whining, whatever, that I was, and when I first got here, all of that would have been a whole different story if I had started from, because here's the thing. She called me because she trusted me. I'm grateful, grateful, grateful that I have presented myself in a way that's being asked to be trusted. That's trusted, trustworthy. I'm grateful for that. If I've been looking at that from a loving way, as opposed to, well, I didn't. I actually, when she first called, it didn't bother me because all I knew was she couldn't breathe, do something. That was. I didn't even give that any thought. That was not. That it was when we got to the hospital. The things that they said, that she said, that like, oh, really, we're doing this again. This could have been a waste of time. All that. But if I had continued to look at it from a loving perspective, okay, she, up to this point, she hasn't accepted, this situation, and lovingly she's going to get. If I continued to look at it from a loving perspective, all that whining I did at the beginning today wouldn't have been. If I can just look at it from a loving perspective, the safety that I bring is given me. Everything that I need is already here. It's just a matter, if I'm engaging with God, uh, uh, if I'm not hanging out in the sleep of forgetfulness. It reads at the end of chapter 16, the sleep of forgetfulness is only the unwillingness to remember your forgiveness and your love. It's the sleep of forgetfulness is what it says. That prayer, forgive us our illusions, Father. That one at the end of chapter 16. The sleep of forgetfulness is the unwillingness to remember. Wait now, unwilling to remember. Oh my goodness. What? What? Why? What is this for? Back to that. My unwillingness to remember is going to keep me in pain and misery. It's going to keep me worried. It's going to keep me angry. It's going to keep me hurting. It's going to keep me from recognizing that I'm not separate from God, because I am. It is what I am. God is what I am. I am what it is. I am that. All right, I'm moving on. Back to the Bible, same chapter in Philippians, verse 8. Whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue and if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. Not what's and why. No. Meditate on these things. This is why we have 365 lessons in the course. And Dr. Ernest says, resolutely turn away from any form of limitation. That's the body too, by the way. The body is a limitation. The body is simply our communication device, so that I can present this, what I'm presenting right now, so that we can all present what we presented here today. My body's a communication device. The computer is a communication device. Resolutely turn away from any form of limitation. God is not limited by any form. And that's what I meant when I was talking about that Adam and Eve story, which is, God is not limited by any form. There's nothing Adam could have done. Adam can't, Eve couldn't, the snake couldn't talk. And God turns to the formless, for out of this a new form shall come. Atoning means to undo. Change your thinking, change your life. Be willing to see it differently. To forgive is to overlook. There is nothing to forgive. Where is it? It's not there. It came to pass. It simply isn't there. How are we doing? I think I've got, this might be my last slide. I'm not sure. No, it's my second to last, I think. Dr. Ernest, and I thought this was an interesting statement. That which we look upon is real while we look at it. In this moment, just this moment. Oh, that moment's gone already. The next moment. Wait, it's gone already. Oh, this moment, it's gone already. If I blinked, it changed. In the second, something in my skin changed, atoms, and all that stuff. Everything is just constantly moving. In form, everything is moving, even though it appears to be still. We think the oak tree isn't moving. Oh, yeah, it is. It's growing all the time. Something else is happening all the time. That which we look upon is real while we look at it. But a second later, it has changed. Workbook lesson 52 clarifies that. I see nothing as it is now. If I see nothing as it is now, it can truly be said that I see nothing. Oh, I love that. Oh, God, I love that. I can see only what is now. That's why I keep saying it came to pass. It didn't come to stay. The stories, all of it, they were stories that came at that moment and they left. Take what you need and leave the rest, they say in a 12-step program. Take what you need. Take the meat that you need from that and leave the rest. What doesn't apply to you, hey, two kinds of business. My business and none of my business. The choice is not whether to see the past or the present. The choice is merely whether to see or not, because there is no past. There is no past. Shadowy figures from the past are precisely what we must escape. They are not real, and they hold the spots of pain in our mind. That's in chapter 13, section 4, the function of time, and it was where my awakening came as far as this Course in Miracles is concerned. Moving on, I got a whole minute. Finally, what could you not accept? If you but knew that everything, all events, past, present, and to come, are gently planned by one whose only purpose is your good. Perhaps you have misunderstood his plan. for he would never offer pain to you. God's not punishing you. Not happening. But your defenses did not let you see his loving blessing shine in every step you ever took. God is love. You are love. It is all love. It is all good. It is all God. It is all love. It is all good. It is all God. And with that, Lynn, here's the mic. Lynn.
No worries. We'll talk. Thank you so much, Zelma Gonzalez. I am sorry.
Yes, thank you.
I'm so
Appreciate that.
grateful for you, and I'm grateful for your willingness to